And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job based on what I know.
Well, that's
about
just
your
a
record and
flippant
what you
statement,
stand
Mr.
for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't
Okay.
ask.
Senator,
Question.
please let the secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add.
Well,
Wow. Well, as you can see, the fireworks were flying in today's congressional session. And the sparring match, the best sparring match of the day, is when Secretary of State Marco Rubio went toe-to-toe with Senator Van Hollen. Now, you may or may not remember Senator Van Hollen. Van Hollen is the senator from Maryland who went out of his way to fight for Abrego Garcia, the illegal immigrant gang-banging woman beater who was deported to El Salvador. Van Hollen decided that he would use the taxpayers of Maryland's money to fly over to another country to plead, beg, and even try to demand that Abrego Garcia, the woman-beating, gang-banging illegal immigrant, would be brought back to America just so he can be deported again. Because the Democrats hung their hat on this one small technicality, which was Abrego Garcia could not be deported to El Salvador because he reported to the Biden administration his fear and concern for his life of being unalived. And remember, YouTube zings you for certain words. So his fear of being unalived by a rival gang in El Salvador. So a rival gang, for it to be a rival gang, which means that their gang rivals our gang. And then those tattoos on his knuckles that the Democrats just like to say, oh, those are just coincidental tattoos, where each single knuckle had another tattoo symbol that represented MS13. All right. So now in this hearing, Van Hollen decides he was going to try to grandstand on Marco Rubio. And in this video, I'm going to let you see just how Marco Rubio whipped his tail on that Senate floor, embarrassed this man. One thing I'm going to say about Marco Rubio, everybody loves Trump. Everybody loves JD. But if you watch, man, Marco Rubio tongue lashes these people when they challenge him. He did it with Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation. He's done it with Kirsten Welker on Meet the Press. And I've seen him do it on CNN. But right now, he decided that Chris Van Hollen was going to be his whipping boy today, and he gave it to him. But before I get into that, let's check out a little bit of this article. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll give you some insight. Then we're going to roll right into the clip because it is a barn burner. Let's roll into this article. I like this one a lot better. Marco Rubio clashes with Democratic senator in heated testimony. I regret voting for you. Defiant Secretary of State says he has no obligation to follow court orders for information in Kilmar Abrego Garcia's deportation to Venezuela case. Don't know why it says Venezuela. It was El Salvador. But let's go into it. It's not a good start for the Independent. Democrats unanimously confirmed former Florida Secretary Marco Rubio as Donald Trump's Secretary of State earlier this year. But the top diplomat faced several hours of attacks from his former colleagues on Tuesday, condemning first months on the job. I have to tell you directly that I personally regret voting for you for Secretary of State, said Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, who has drawn intense criticism from the administration after traveling to visit a wrongly deported Salvadorian father shipped to a hellhole prison in his home country. You regret voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, Rubio fired back. That's a flippant statement, Van Hollen replied. Rubio faced a barrage of criticism from Democrats on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, including Van Hollen, who worked alongside the Florida Republican for more than a decade. I'm not even mad anymore about your complicity in this administration's destruction of the U.S. global leadership, Senator Jackie Rosen of Democrat of Nevada told him. I'm simply disappointed. I wonder if you're proud of yourself in this moment when you go home to your family. Van Hollen lashed into Rubio's dismantling of the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, the end of refugee settlement, cancellation of international student visas over criticism of Israel, and the summary removals of dozens of immigrants to a notorious prison in El Salvador. The senator faced attacks from administration officials and Trump allies after traveling to El Salvador to visit Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Salvadorian father living in Maryland who was deported to his home country more than 2 months ago, igniting a fierce legal battle with judges and a unanimous Supreme Court demanding the administration facilitate his release. Rubio asserted that he has no obligation to answer questions from a judge about the government's relationship with El Salvador and arrangements to imprison Abrego Garcia and others. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with, Senator Rubio said Rubio, referencing debunked claims that Van Hollen drank cocktails with Abrego Garcia during a brief visit. Aides for El Salvador President Nayib Bukele placed glasses on the table, dressed up like cocktails to mock their meeting, according to Van Hollen. That guy is a human smafficker. That guy is a gangbanger, Rubio said. Van Hollen tried to cut him off, telling committee chair Jane Risch that Rubio was making unsubstantiated comments. Administration officials have repeatedly sought to justify Abrego Garcia's ongoing detention with allegations of criminal activity and gang membership, which were largely raised after he was deported. The claims are absent in court documents in the legal battle for his return. So let's just get off into the sparring match. Now, if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I'll never ask you for a cash app or a super chat. You hitting that like button, it really helps the channel, helps spread the information out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And then once you do, all you got to do, hit that notification bell and then select all. And that way you'll be notified when I upload new videos.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may say.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job based on what I know.
Well, that's just
your
a
record and
flippant
what you
statement,
stand
Mr.
for.
Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't
Okay.
ask.
Senator,
questions.
please let the secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add. Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary, please.
Well, I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation. I don't regret psychosocial support services.
I raised
USAID.
Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr.
Senator,
Chairman, or do
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes.
I chose to use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use my time
suspend
that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to.
Senator,
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr. Chairman.
Secretary
No.
Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated.
He has got Van Hollen losing his mind. Do you hear that? He trying to cut it. He had 7 minutes, and I didn't put that part of him talking. He went on. You know, he had his 5 minutes to go into it. They have 5 minutes that they can question the witnesses. He used his entire time and even went overtime just going on. Did not ask Rubio any questions at all. Just wanted to make a grandstand statement. That's why the chairman told him, he's like, you used your time and you used it woefully. And you don't represent the committee. He didn't ask Marco Rubio any questions. He wanted to use that to try to talk down on him. And then he ended it by saying he wished he never voted for him. So this is just Marco getting a chance to get his get back because he never had a chance to respond during the entire 7 minutes that Senator Van Hollen was saying what he needed to so he can clip it up and get donations from insane Marylanders or the frauding Act Blue who likes to send money to weak Democrats who can't win without some type of skullduggery going on. But I'll digress.
Senator,
like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You've had
Secretary
your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the
Senator,
United States because
well,
he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them we've had communications with the president of El Salvador, I am under no obligation under our division of powers in this country and to share with the judicial branch how I conduct the diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts or frankly with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to
Is
give you
that
a
what Ms.
visa.
Ostork did?
We're not going to give you a
Is that what
visa.
she
And if you
did?
do
Come
that-
on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single
You're
one
just
of these
blowing
cases, the
smoke
factors
here
are
now.
different.
Senator,
The bottom line is, if you're
Senator,
coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Does
have
the
a
First
visa and
Amendment
we find
apply
you, we
to
will
people
revoke
living in
you.
the United
And
States?
we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through a
Writing an
bunch of
op-ed
lunatics
to the
who
top
are here on student
newspapers
visas.
disrupting the
Simple
foreign
as that.
policy of the United
I want to
States.
do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these people.
pathetic, Mr.
In fact, the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was. And I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke
I
it.
feel so much safer
All right,
when you lock
let's,
up people like Ms. Ostork, Mr. Secretary.
we've had enough time on the subject.
I love it. Do you see how matter of fact, let me take it back a little bit. Look at how red Van Hollen is. Matter of fact, let me draw it back a little. Look at that. Oh, that was a good one. Oh my God. Look at that anger. Look at Cory Booker. Look at Booker's face. Even he's looking at him like, damn, dude, you're tripping. Like, you had your 7 minutes. The man is answering and you keep jumping in. You know why Van Hollen's jumping in? Because he know that everything that Marco Rubio is saying is going on the record. It's all going on the record. And so it'll be documented that Van Hollen went and had margaritas, allegedly, with a gangbanging woman beater, illegal immigrant in El Salvador, while Maryland, as we all know, has some of the worst schools in Baltimore, some of the lowest test scores of students in the nation, some of the highest crime rates in the country, while this man is bending the knee, crying and sobbing and fighting left and right for an illegal immigrant. Look at who he's talking about, the lady. Oh, did she do this? Did she do that? Yes, she was protesting being anti-Semitic on campuses. That was all about these shutting down libraries and protesting and whatnot, representing or supporting there was a Mahmoud Khalib. So yes, she was as bad, and Rubio should revoke her visa. These Democrats are insane. These people act like being an illegal immigrant, coming here illegally, and it's only because they think that these people are likely Democrat voters. Here's what the left-wing extremists don't realize. Just because you hope that they'll vote Democrat doesn't mean that they're ignorant. If they get here and they see what we see, how long you think it's going to be before they vote against you? See, that's what they're not getting. The Hispanic vote heavily went towards Trump. It wasn't some barely margins and it was close between he and Kamala. It wasn't even close. And it's going to be even worse in 2028. Same thing with the black community. Trump got close to 20%. I assure you it's going to be much higher the next time. And these Democrats know it. And I wish that there was a way that we can line up every single Democrat in the Senate and in Congress and put the national television, put the spotlight on them and ask them personally how they feel. Do they feel illegal immigrants should have equal rights to American citizens? Illegal immigrants, should they get free money? Should they get free housing? Let's see what they say. And we know the Democrats are communists and socialists. So they might say, yes, I believe that. But here's the kicker on how they believe housing and things should go. They believe it's like tax. Remember, well, when the tax was started, it was 1913 under Woodrow Wilson, and it was only supposed to tax the richest 1%. The wealthiest 1%, we're going to get a 1% tax. Look at where we are today. Everybody is taxed across the board, 7%, and now they even got state income tax. So what started out as this so-called great thing to fight against the man, the top 1% for 1%, that's how it starts, because it makes ignorant people say, we're for that, get those rich people. What ends up happening, the rich can afford it and ends up flipping back on those beneath, and then everybody gets stomped out. It's crazy, but I just wanted to bring this to light that Marco Rubio is the sleeping horse. He has been knocking these senators and congressional members out like Rocky, left and right. And Van Hollen is the next to step up to the plate and got knocked out. Cory Booker's face is priceless right here. I love it. Matter of fact, this is going to make for a great thumbnail picture. So when you see this on YouTube, remember, you saw this picture is what got you of Senator Van Hollen's face. That's what got piqued your interest and got you to click on this. This clip of that face is going on that thumbnail. But hey, I love it. I'm here for it. So the Trump administration is putting the smack down. We got Democrats in Congress charged with felony Judges arrested and charged. Van Hollen smacked back, embarrassed, exposed. Joe Biden, his whole administration exposed. Curtain unveiled. Liberal media exposed. Man, 2025 is shaping out to be like the year of reveal. And I'm here for it. So if you've watched to this point, I want to say thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. Tell me how you feel. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, you be safe and you stay great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.